I'm interested in, we've been talking about some of the particulars of cognac, and I wanted to ask, thinking about the future and thinking about, cognac as this luxury item that may or may not shift as globalization picks up or as globalization shifts in this, particularly in this post, whatever this world will look like after quarantines are lifted and the global economy starts rebooting in one direction or the other. What do you think cognac, but also luxury brands or luxury items, more generally, what do you think their role will be in this post-COVID-19 world?
So first, I don't want to sound too pessimistic. I will try to be realistic. This COVID thing, I think, will change things, but I don't think that it would change as much as everyone thinks. The reason for this is it reminds me a little bit like when people come from vacation, and they come from vacation and they go, oh, you know what, I won't do again like I did before. I'm going to change so many things. Or the end of the year resolution is I'm going to change because of all of this. I think people have intentions, but I think when it comes to what's normal, the standard is I think everyone goes back to sort of bad habits or routines that they are forced to go to. So I think that's unfortunate, but things will go back very close. What's going to change is I think organizations have found new ways of doing business, of surviving. And I think organizations may have found a way of doing it more efficiently, and therefore they won't want people to go back to where they were because they found new efficient way right now. And they say, oh, this is more efficient right now. I don't want you to go back to what you were doing before. So I'm thinking of banks, that closed a lot of services that were in area of high density, very expensive real estate, and that people move back to their home. And then they may decide not to go back to those expensive skyscrapers in New York, that was the way business was done, and everybody was forced to do 2 hours of commute and go there and so forth. And people may not want to go back to commute, but if the businesses decide this is the way they want to do it, people have to make a living and they have to go with the flow and they will go back to these. But I think the changes are going to come, and that's sort of pessimistic, but not so much from people. They will come from economics decision. It's someone that's found a way to save some money or be more efficient will make decisions for the sake of increasing the margins. And I think all of this that has happened through all the processes that we have to change will change, but I have very little hope that it would change from people's real actions. So the people that were really caring for sustainability, I think they will care more for sustainability. I think this group will become more focused. I think people will have more consciousness of the importance of sustainability. So that would become more of a, if it was a 6 in their list, probably it's going to move 5th on their list. So it's a benefit, but I don't think it's a revolutionary situation that's going to change. I think people are going to be more worried of the governments. I think that's what's going to stay maybe for a longer time. So going back to luxury, I think when overflow into mass luxury, and it is possible that the mass luxury is going to have a harder time to come back because maybe less people are going to spend on those huge quantity of product to buy. But I think the high-end luxury will stay because in some way, if I talk for cognac, for example, cognac has been very strong for the past 500 years because if there are poor people, there are always rich people somewhere else. So you just shift. It's like water always find a way to go somewhere. So you just shift. So cognac is really made for upper classes and they always find a way. What's the problem is when cognac is made for lower classes and there's this kind of issue, then it's harder to sell to these people. So then you have to create a different kind of cognac and maybe work at increasing your production to have economies of scales. But in this moment of crisis, what happens is the smaller guy will disappear. So from 1,000 brands 20 years ago, now we're down to 280, I think. I would not be surprised that in September, there is 240 brand. By the end of the year, there's maybe 200 brand of cognac left. And so that will benefit the big company, and the big company will just increase their market share by having higher production and being able to serve the lower incomes. But at the same time, they're going to take over with the big brand name, take over the category, and then start selling to the wealthy people. But I think what this does is it gives an opportunity for craftsmanship at an artisan level where
Right.
smaller producer who's low overheads, but real talent and a real conviction and artistry for luxury can come out of the woodwork with great products at this time of difficult crisis. I think this is the time for individuals to rise, possibly.
So that's fascinating. You think so at the same time as you have a kind of an increasing in the consolidation of these larger companies that have diluted, if you will, the luxury, the things we've talked about, the scarcity, the craft, the very small, luxury itself, as we've talked about, it targets a small group, at least throughout its history. And that's what makes it luxury, right? And then when you mass produce it, it basically undermines the nature of what luxury is. So you have a consolidation of these bigger brands that really aren't doing luxury. And then you have these smaller ones, these individuals. So you have both of them surviving out of this